I think that's enough. There's enough of that. Let's get this this freaking show on the road, shall we? Hello again, everybody. It's time for another exciting episode of AD 2026, which is just Aaron and David hanging out and doing a little drawing. I'll be doing most of the drawing today while David does most of the talking, I would think. But we shall see how it works out. There's David Williams. Hey, David.
Sorry.
My mom sounds like that every morning when she wakes up. Oh, like, getting old sucks.
She's like, where's my breakfast?
I get a light on the old subject here. All right, so I got to do another painting, and not just the one behind me that I got to finish. I've also got another one that I have to do, which is good because the only time I really paint is when I make myself paint. And by giving myself these assignments and these deadlines, it's making me do it. So I've got to create a final image for the cover of my alleged Kickstarter campaign. Now, I bought one of these yesterday.
Ooh.
This is a Blick Studio stretched canvas traditional profile. Has 3/4 inch solid wood frame. How about that?
Look at you.
Yeah, I used to. Did you ever like stretch canvases?
Nope. Never.
I did. I took a painting class when I was going to community college to get my grades raised so I could transfer to USC. We did this life painting class, but the guy also taught us how to stretch canvas. So I would go to the art supply store, buy the canvas I wanted. You know, they had it on big rollers, and you'd get X amount of square inches, and then build the frame and then stretch the canvas.
Mm.
It was, even as a 19, 20-year-old, hurt the old hand. Have to pull that, you know, you'd staple it like at one or two corners, and then you'd start pulling it tight and stapling it, pulling it tight and stapling it. Hurt the old hands, man. So I said, why am I doing this? What am I trying to prove? So I quickly returned to buying them.
See, now that goes into where there's people that want to go through the whole process because they want to be like true artists that go through the entire, process.
Right.
Then you say, oh, why do I want to do this? You want to go to the next thing. And that kind of mentality, I guess it keeps going further and further. And that's why, AI is here now. We don't want to do nothing. Let's just
Yeah,
tell
look,
anything.
I
Just
don't want to stretch the canvas. I just want to paint. Yeah, I
yeah.
really don't want to paint. I just want to have the finished painting. So
Yes. Well, here's the idea. Hey, computer, this is the idea that I want to do.
that's right. I don't even want to think about the idea.
Yeah.
Like, let's eliminate this stage that I'm about to embark upon here, and just let AI do everything.
Yeah.
I mean, it's probably going to, whether we want to or not, that's how it's going to go. So we might as well embrace it in our old age. No, I never will. Never will. Not until I have to fulfill those childhood desires to be like Norman Rockwell and J.C. Leyendecker and, do the whole painting thing. So,
Yeah.
okay, I want to remind everybody, the only reason that we're, David and I are doing these live streams right now is to remind you that we do have a campaign called Barbaric Adventures, and it is closing out Tuesday at midnight. I thought I set it up to be Wednesday at midnight so we could like do a closeout on Graybeards. No. Dumb Aaron put it at 12 a.m. on the 5th instead of 12 a.m. at the 6th. And I just confused myself with the whole AM PM thing. And so anyway, yeah, it closes Tuesday night. So we'll be doing, at least I will. Hopefully a few of you guys will join me. We'll be streaming on Tuesday to close this sucker out. And anyway, so if you guys remember on Graybeards, actually, let me switch cameras so we can get to the drawing portion of our show. Okay, so I showed you guys this and this, which direction to go with the cover. And you guys all chose this almost unanimously. So this is what we're going to do. Now, both of these pieces are right this second, are available on the campaign page. They haven't sold already. I don't think they have, but I don't know. It's been a while. So right, both these pieces are up. This one's 11 by 14. This one's 9 by 12. Very nice pieces. So go and check those out if you have interest in buying them. This is the dinosaur that I was working on Graybeards, and I don't like the way it turned out because I think it's too slender. It needs to be beefier. I think T-Rex's neck is
Didn't have enough humans to eat, so that's okay.
Yeah, that's true. He's hungry.
Yeah.
But it really kind of ticks me off because we did a draw stream where I started working on a dinosaur and I didn't like it, so I tossed it. And then I did this on Graybeards because I was like, I got to get that dinosaur. And so I did this, and now I don't like this one. So I still have another dinosaur drawing in me to get this right. And I'm kind of pissed at myself, actually. But, I mean, it's not bad, but he's just a little too lean and slender for what I wanted to do here. So anyway.
How large would a Tyrannosaurus Rex baby or a young Tyrannosaurus Rex be?
I don't know, the size of an ostrich, maybe? That's a good question.
Because you could do your main guy character like wrestling with one, like he's got it in a chokehold, but the mama's like right behind, like, what the heck? What are you doing to my baby?
So basically, then I have to draw three things. So just one is what you're saying.
Yeah.
It's a brilliant idea, David. I'll get right on that. Speaking of brilliance, I was showing this to Ron Garney the other day, and so I just wanted to. I had it sitting here. I thought, now, if you guys remember, on the Wraith of God 3 campaign, if we hit 100 grand, which we didn't quite get there, but if we had, we would have included this backup story by David Williams. I did the art I wrote it, David drew it. And I was talking with Ron Garney and Graham Nolan about, other people drawing your scripts. And you never getting, obviously you're not going to get what you would do. But the question is, did you hire the right person to give you something maybe better than what you would do? And I knew David would be perfect for this. And this was the double page spread he did for that story, which still remains unpublished, but it's going to crop up someplace. Somewhere, somehow, we're going to get this out so you guys can see it. But this is just an idea of just, I never would have done it like this. And that's what's so cool about when you hire or work with a really talented artist, they're going to bring something that you wouldn't have thought of, and it's going to be really, really cool. And then as a result, it just pisses you off because you didn't think of it. So, but anyway, that I just wanted to show that since it was sitting out of my portfolio. But anyway, so yeah, we're going to attempt to draw a better version of this, or at least a version that I can transfer to the canvas. And that's kind of my goal for today. It's not a lofty goal by any stretch. It's just a goal, but I think I can achieve it.
So wait, you want to transfer that to canvas?
No, I don't want. I need to tweak this drawing.
Oh, again?
Yes.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
The funny thing is, I'll redo this, and then I'll like this one better and end up using this anyway. But, yeah. But I wanted to do a bigger one here. And this is for. Let me bring up the campaign real quick if I can. And show you guys something. All right at the moment, we are at look at $32,934, 431 backers. You know, we have a really good chance to get to 500 backers before this thing closes out, which would be awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Why did I bring this up?
To show off my cover.
Yeah, that's what it was. Well, let's just go through the campaign, and then maybe I'll remember why I brought it up. Because I was going to show you guys something specific, and I can't remember what it was. This is a 64-page square-bound magazine format. That's 8.5 by 11 to you laymen out there. Black and white with tonal rendering. This is really, it's a collection of really good stories, but it's also a collection of some fantastic art. One of those things that you won't just read it once. You'll read it once, and then you go back and look at the pictures over and over again. So there's three main stories. Primal Zone is my story. It's a story of a reluctant hero cast into an interdimensional world of dinosaurs and cavemen, very Edgar Rice Burroughs-y. David Williams introduces the story of a young medieval knight who battles a horde of demons in a quest to become a true warrior. Finally, Dan Lawless takes us to the futuristic Mars, where high-tech society has fallen into savage chaos. One man leads a rebellion to defeat the corrupt powers that have seized control. Gary Martin contributes a pinup in this thing. Coran Stone is threatening a pinup. I haven't seen it, but we'll see. Anyway, so here's my cover. This, of course, is a painted cover. These are all painted covers, keeping in line with the Savage Tales tradition that we're going for here. There's David Williams' painted cover. Dan Lawless's digitally painted cover. Very nice. So that red really, really works. And then, of course, the great Joe Jusko contributed this cover of Freya the Ice Princess slaughtering helpless Yetis. And the great thing about this book also, there's a short preview story by me of Freya in this book as well. So that's kind of like bonus material. You get the three main stories, but you also get the original Primal Zone story I did back in 95, which has never been published, or 96. And then the Freya story, which is all new material as well. So there's
She killed Fred.
I know. You lousy biatch, I'll kill you. Look at Fred. Here's some of the artwork from my story. You can see the ink wash in here. Dan Lawless's Mars Madness story. There's a couple pages in here. He's even included dialogue and captions.
Mm-hmm.
This is the Barbaric Adventures portfolio, but this is only available if you buy the Big Barbaric box, which we'll get to in a minute. This is the fifth cover that's only available in the Big Barbaric box as well, which we'll get to that in a minute. Of course, you see the canvases behind me, or was behind me when I was on screen for this. We do have a $40,000 stretch goal that's very possible we could hit that, and that's a trading card with art by me. Barbaric Adventures sketchbook 32 pages, 8.5 by 11, signed by me. All my barbaric art is in there. This Snow Hunt print of Freya, signed by me. Shot glass with the Barbaric Adventures logo laser etched into it. And then here we go with the original art for sale. This is available. This is available, I think. This is available. These 2 pages are actually up for sale. And then, of course, my cover. And there's been a lot of other artwork on here that's been up for sale, but is already sold. So you keep scrolling down. Here's your rewards. 4-pack plus. That's all 4 covers plus the sketchbook. You can get the shot glass just by itself if you want, which now that I think about it, I'm not sure why I put that up there because I already had it as an add-on. But anyway, there it is. You can get all 4 covers, or individually, if you just want one cover, you can pick which one you want and order that. You can get a combo pack of the Barbaric Adventures with the sketchbook, or Barbaric Adventures with the sketchbook and the signed print. Those are both $5 values if you get the combo packs. And of course, the big savings here, the big Barbaric box, $210 value for $185. That's all 4 covers, plus the 5th extra cover that you can only get in the big Barbaric box, the shot glass, the print, the sketchbook, and that limited edition 4-print portfolio only available in the big Barbaric box. And then, of course, you scroll down, and here's the original art still for sale. So this one is still there. This one is still there. How about that? Still both available. And this one, and then the 2 pages still available. David's cover is sold. Oh, that's what I was going to say. The Barbaric Adventures, whoever bought this roughs and layouts, there is so much good stuff in this package. It was well worth the $15 that you had to spend to get it. I don't know who bought it because I haven't checked. But like this drawing I'm doing today is going to be in this roughs and layouts package. So there's some watercolors in there. It's really a pretty good deal. And you keep scrolling, you get the add-ons. You can add anything on from the campaign. You can even add on stuff from past campaigns like Wraith of God 1 through 3, Kit Carter, Garbage Man Trade, the Power Cube Trade. Again, all 4 covers, and then the Kit Carter sketchbook. All these things are available at your fingertips on this campaign. So right now we're 431 backers. And let's see if we can get a couple more today. That's what we're here for. All righty. So yeah, that's what I wanted to bring up was the person who got the all the roughs and layouts. Just on the covers alone, there's so many roughs and layouts that it makes worth it. Not to mention, the layouts for pages and stuff like that. All righty.
Wow.
There you go.
Impressive.
Most impressive. So I went to the art supply store yesterday to get that canvas, and I wanted to get a few other things, but I didn't really need anything else. Do you ever do that when you go to an art supply store and you just want to buy something?
Yep.
Because it's an art supply store?
Every time.
So I bought a couple more pens. So I figured, I'd use those.
I kept buying metal rulers. I got about 10 of them.
That's the other thing. French curves and metal rulers are like, I need that. I need to get one of those. And pencil sharpeners. I have got like 10 of these. I keep losing them, and then I'm like, I better get another one. They're only a couple bucks, and then you find, and pretty soon you have this massive collection of pencil sharpeners.
Why don't you have mechanical pencils?
Well, I use that pencil sharpener for my blue pencils.
Oh yeah, I forgot. You got training wheels on. Still.
Yeah, and I use mechanical pencils for my actual drawing. Yeah, if that makes any sense. All right. I don't know if I can make this better. Like I said, I may end up just blowing this up and tweaking this a little bit. But we'll see. We'll see what this comes out. I feel like I can get maybe a little bit more curve in that figure of hers.
You should check out some of Bruce Timm's, like the way he would.
Oh my gosh.
Pose a woman and have those hips cocked out like. Ah,
it's like a snake, the way he draws that. It would be like an S curve or something for those figures, man.
But I mean, yeah, that's like super cartoony. It looks good,
Oh yeah.
but you're in the realm of realism.
Well, sort of. The realm of what do you call it? Neil Adams realism, which it still really isn't realism, but it's kind of what we accept as realism in comics.
Yeah.
Make that stance maybe a little bit wider. I always sit there and go, what would Frazetta do? I've been watching just an absolute whenever I get ready to start painting, man, it's like all I do is watch painting videos. And I've been watching these guys on Instagram, those little shorts,
Yeah.
and how they just are like they block in their shadow areas. I mean, they just with big thick brushes, and and you look at it and you go, that looks like a grade schooler did that. And then within like 5 minutes, it's turned into this portrait that just is unbelievable. I spend quite a bit of time pissed off on Instagram looking at other people's artwork.
You're already detailing the face.
Who, me?
Yeah, you.
Yeah, because if the face sucks, then the whole thing sucks. I want to get that face right. I kind of feel like I need to go back and kind of look at that Loomis book again, kind of get back to basics, especially with the face and figure design and layout, because it's so integral to the success of your drawing. And it's like, we all know how to do it because we've been doing it for so long, but then you kind of get into these modes where, you're drawing from rote and you start shortcutting and you start going, my faces don't quite look as good as they could because I'm just sort of falling into this same old rut. And I just saw a guy talking about this on a painting video about, Loomis and really blocking the face in so it's, structurally correct before you start getting into it and putting detail and stuff. And I always seem to work backwards. I'm always more interested in the detail than I'm actually the structure.
Yeah.
And as a result, it takes me twice as long to draw anything because I have to erase it so much. Because if I just, put the structure in first, or it's like doing backgrounds. If you just take that extra 15 to 20 minutes to put that grid in the panel, your perspective grid,
yeah,
makes everything so much easier. But I never do that. And then it always ends up taking me longer because now I got to go back and fix stuff because it's not right. And it just, I don't know. I don't ever learn, David, and I don't understand what my problem is.
I can never draw over the grid. It would always frustrate me. I'm like, what am I looking at?
Yeah, but you can freehand when you put the grid in. You can freehand stuff because you can see pretty much, even if you're doing windows and they're not exactly right on one of the grid lines, you can still eyeball it pretty close because you've got enough grid lines on there. You can, and then you can do like buildings and stuff that maybe are a little bit more organic feeling and not quite so, perfectly, every line is perfect. So that when it gets inked, it looks like a coloring book instead of a city with a little bit of wear and tear to it.
Yeah. I just eyeball everything anyway. I just don't need the grid. And then I do a basic boxes and stuff like that, and shapes. And I said, oh, this is generally what it is. And then I figure it out, as I go.
See, that's what I do, but I always end up screwing it up at some point. I'm like going back and finding my vanishing points. And I do that a lot. I'll knock in a background just really loosely and eyeball everything.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'll find my farthest, at the top of the page and the bottom of the page, your farthest away from the center lines. And then I'll draw out my vanishing point based on those two things and then tighten everything up.
Yeah.
but Paul Ryan used to, he literally would grid. If he had a background in a panel, like he would just grid the panel every single time, like in blue pencil. And so he had grids all over his page, and he would just draw into the grid. And it was just like,
I mean, the thing that I do now is, because I'm not efficient in Photoshop and all this other kind of stuff, my art table's right next to the computer, and I'll see a background that I like, that I grabbed off of Google Images, and I'll take a couple of different backgrounds that are like the same, and I'll Frankenstein a background and eyeball it, so people can't say, "Oh, this is exactly," like, nope.
it's like bits and pieces look familiar, but it's not the whole thing. It's just it, and then yeah. I usually don't, and it pisses me off, but I get going drawing, and I don't want to stop and like dig for reference, or even before I start, I don't necessarily want to take an hour and just dig up reference. I just want to get going, and that's largely just due to my impatient nature. But I have on occasion, especially if I have to do like an exotic location, like you're trying to, well, like the page that I did in for this story where they're fighting the cavemen in front of that temple, right? I went and looked up some ancient temples and sort of got an idea of, what one might look like. And then you just kind of, take that in your mind, and then you just kind of fudge it based on at least me, based on my memory of what I saw. So I don't want to copy it exactly, but I just kind of want to get an idea of what it might look like.
Have you seen like Arthur Adams pencils? Like he has all this blue line, and he'll have a grid, and it's insane. I'm like, how could you draw through that mess?
Yeah.
I just don't get it.
Yeah, I mean, it's really hard when you're doing like bigger drawings. I don't find it as difficult with buildings because they just fit right into it, like like you're putting wooden blocks into the correct hole, because the shapes are the same. But when you grid out like figure work, that's hard. I mean, it just gets so distracting to see all of that extra crap in there that you're trying to work around it.
And when I do backgrounds, when I know I have to do establishing shots, I'll draw them on 8.5 by 11, and without a figure in there, so I don't have to look through anything and try to figure it out, and I just knock down the hard shapes, the basic shapes, until I get it, and then I light box it, and I go, oh, okay. And that's why it turns out as clean as it does. And I'll intentionally make lines look kind of wobbly, especially like windows. I don't try to overly make them look tight, because there's usually like some kind of reflection, and it's kind of blurred and pushed back. I was trying to teach Gary that, because he used to go in and articulate, like if I would have to do a window, he would fully go in and articulate the whole thing and the window panes and all that kind of stuff. And I'm like, no. And I said, it's a gesture. It's suggesting it,
Right.
The light is just coming from one side, and, it's creating the illusion that it's a blur effect. So it's pushed back, so it's not perfect.
Right. Well, that's because that's what I was talking about earlier, is because if you ink it every line perfectly and everything, it looks like a coloring book. It doesn't look like a real building when you get done. And so having some broken lines in there, or not everything completely finished, or even just doing some of that by hand. I got to a point where I had Matt Ryan start. I would use a ruler, and I would put all the buildings in and stuff, and then I'd tell him to ink them freehand.
Yeah.
Not to use a ruler when he was inking it, because I wanted a little bit of wobble and in there so that it looked more organic and real and less like a, this perfect, every line perfect. And I don't know, it just, you can very easily ink the life out of stuff if you're not careful.
Yeah.
Even backgrounds. I mean, it's important.
Art of Roy said, a guy I worked for doing architectural illustrations always said, draw tight, ink loose, and paint looser.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think that's absolutely right. But it's easier said than done for some of us. That's the challenge, is to get yourself to loosen up.
Yeah.
Because comics have always been sort of a tight medium, or at least they got that way in the 90s with Image and everything like that. Pencilers kept getting tighter and tighter because they wanted to control the final look of the artwork. But you do that, and then it just gets stilted after a while. And Brian Boland can get away with it, I guess, but not a lot of us can. I used to do that Neil Adams method very early on, where I would do everything on an 8.5 by 11 piece of like copy paper, and then I would blow it up and light table it onto the finished board. But what I started to find out after a while was that every line was perfect. Everything was just, there was no energy in it at all. It just looked like porcelain.
Yeah.
And so I finally got away from that. But of course being a big Neil Adams honk, I was like, well, if Neil does it this way, I'm going to do it this way. Funny thing is, with Neil, he did that, but his stuff still was, kind of sketchy and had some energy in it. And
Marcus Kilgrew says, I blame Brian Hitch.
Well, I don't think Hitch was really I wouldn't say his stuff was stiff. Would you? I mean,
no.
Point?
Not at all.
Because the only guy that had really, really hard line, polished looking stuff, I guess Dave Gibbons a little bit, but was Boland.
Mm-hmm.
But for whatever reason, I always loved Boland stuff because I just think he drew so well,
Yeah. Why am I just blanking on his name? I was just about to say his name. Hold on.
Spit it out, man.
I know.
You got a project like you can name that I can go, oh yeah, that's so and so.
Hold on.
Computer technology is there for you, my friend. I want to make sure that her.
Oh, I'm tripping. Paul Ravoche.
Well, that's a timely name to bring up, right?
Well, we were talking about like tight backgrounds and all that kind of stuff. I mean, but that's what he's known for. And I think that's probably the only way it really looks good is when you're being highly graphic like him in his art style.
Yeah.
It really works. And it even works for the characters. His characters were really, super sharp and refined and super clean. And it just worked. If your whole intention is to be like super graphic, it can work. But if you're trying to mix it with, oh man, this cutting edge kind of, line work for your figures, like, I don't know, Olivier Coipel or Frazetta or any of that type of stuff, and then you have hyper tight backgrounds, one of those styles is going to kill the other thing inside the piece. You
No,
know.
that's really true. There was a consistency with, um, how they did. I mean, Koipel never really, as I recall, really elaborated that much on his backgrounds. There a lot of times they were vignette kind of things, right? That supported the figure in the foreground.
Hmm.
So I don't remember ever seeing, you know, him with these. Of course, I mean, I looked at his Thor stuff, and they were that whole run of Thor that he was on. They were in some small town the whole time anyway, so it wasn't like he was doing like huge buildings, skyscrapers and stuff. But who does a good job of that is it George or Jorge Jimenez,
Uh-huh.
that young Spaniard, that guy with all the great hair and
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, super talented and gets all the chicks. It's like the worst combination. You're like, dude, come on, man. But his background's now he does everything digitally, but I always thought his backgrounds, the way he drew Gotham City and stuff. I mean, I love his figure work too, but it was always it was a nice integration of his figures with the backgrounds. I thought he did a really good job overall, you know. What is Koipel doing these days anyway?
Whatever the he won't.
Is he is he doing is he doing some stuff for Image or
I don't
Mark
know.
Millar or somebody like that, or is he
I don't know.
uh,
He doesn't have to do anything. He could do pinups for the rest of his life. And he'll
yeah, I
be great.
guess. But I always wonder because I just, you see guys you really like, and they have sort of this period of time in the mainstream, and then they disappear, and you don't know. It's like Joe Mad went and did gaming stuff,
Mm-hmm.
and you know, J. Scott Campbell, didn't he go into animation or something, or am I dreaming that?
No, you're thinking of Joe Mad. Joe Mad.
Well,
Joe Mad went into video gaming.
right, but didn't J. Scott Campbell,
No,
like, wasn't he out of comics for a while and he came back and he just did covers? Or
no,
no? Okay.
you're thinking of Joe Mad.
No, no. Well, who did Ben 10?
It
Oh, Joe
wasn't.
Casey, right? Was that
Yeah,
Joe Casey?
yeah.
Okay. Okay. I was, for some reason, I was thinking that J. Scott Campbell had something to do with it.
No.
All right. Well, now I feel stupid. Not really. No more than I normally do. The problem with using this blue pencil is you can get carried away and do like practically a finished drawing in blue pencil.
That's what I'm looking at. I'm just like, you could go straight to inking from that.
Well, I'm not going to ink this because I'm just going to use some of your recommended carbon paper.
Mm-hmm.
And although let me see, I may have to blow this up a little bit. I don't think it's going to be quite big enough. Because if that's the canvas, yeah, she's going to be too small on the canvas. So I'm going to have to make her a couple inches bigger. So once I get this drawing done, I'm going to have to blow it up in Photoshop and then print out two pieces and, so I can transfer it onto the canvas. But I will go over here in pencil now. I want to see if I can get this face looking like I want it to look.
Apex Comics said, "Hey, an Adam Hughes pinup book to crowdfund to help pay for his medical bills." Are you saying there's one, or are you saying there should be one?
Yeah, I don't know. A lot of these guys, You don't know if they have health insurance or they don't. I mean, I haven't heard anything that like he's, financially in trouble or anything by this. So I don't know. But I know there's been DC did a book of his covers. There's a lot of stuff out there, obviously, that Adam did. Are you looking something up right now?
No,
Oh, you're just being silent.
I was waiting for someone to write in something about the Adam Hughes. Oh, he said there should be an Adam Hughes pinup book. Okay. I guess. Sure. Maybe he should just have a page for help instead of pinup book, because rather just give him cash instead of doing artwork. Don't make me work.
Well, he's got a large enough body of work that he could easily put together, or someone could put together a.
Yeah.
Well, like I said, I don't know what his financial situation is. I don't know that.
Yeah, I don't know if they even asked. I'm assuming he's doing pretty well
I
financially.
would think so.
But if he's not, I'll help where I can.
Yeah. My favorite Adam Hughes story. I mean, I've got several, but my favorite is my son and I. And this wasn't that long ago. It was pre-COVID. But my son, when Shelley gave up on San Diego, I was like, I'm not going anymore. That's when my son was like, yes. So I started taking him, and he got to go every year for years, for 10 years probably.
Yeah.
And or more. And so I think he was in college probably still. But we were out before the show started, and we were, looking at just different booths and stuff. And there was a booth that had a bunch of like 12-inch Star Trek figures, and they were really, well articulated and all this kind of stuff. And so we're looking at this showcase, glass case in the middle of this booth that had, some Star Trek figures in it. And I hear this voice. It's like, hey, have you seen the Scotty figure? And I'm like, turning, it's Adam Hughes, right? And he's like, Aaron, did you see that because James Doohan, the guy who played Scotty, was missing part of one of his fingers. Right? And so he was always hiding that on the show because he'd have his hand curled up or something so that you couldn't notice that he was missing part of his finger. And but on the doll, they lopped his finger off. And so Adam Hughes is pointing this, he's just totally Star Trek geeking out. My son's like, "Whoa, it's Adam Hughes," and we're just sitting there talking, and he's just totally geeking out about this action figure. I just thought it was the funniest thing.
That is funny. Well, I told you about Adam coming over to my house, and he had all of that Star Trek graphic novel art.
Yeah.
That was so insane seeing that stuff. I mean, that's kind of like how I feel like when I'm, drawing these pages, because they were so large. I feel like I'm doing what Adam was doing back then. This is so impressive. And his stuff was like, not like a one-to-one to the actors, but he captured how they acted. So you felt it. You're just like, wow. If Jerome was to do Star Trek, it would be like, that's exactly,
how they look. Right.
But Adam was really capturing all the nuances of the acting. You could almost feel the Shatner when he was talking in his gesture.
Yeah.
It was like, wow. He could not have a face, and you go, oh, that's Shatner.
Yeah. No, that's funny. I love that book. I remember that came out and I was just like, my favorite artist drawing my favorite, material. Um, and I got to do a Star Trek 48 page like prestige format thing.
Oh wow.
And oh my gosh, I don't think I've ever done anything as hard in my life. Because you sit there and you think, okay, so you're trying to get Shatner down, and Nimoy's a little bit easier, because he has a bigger, longer nose, and his features are more unique.
Yeah.
Shatner's much more difficult. And then all of a sudden you go, oh, close up of Sulu, and you're like, Judas Priest. Now I got to pull out some Sulu reference someplace, and it was really hard. And then I had somebody inking it, and that's the bummer, right? When you're doing likenesses, you can get it in the pencil, but if someone comes in and inks it, even yourself, even if you ink it over the top, if you screw up a couple lines here and there, it doesn't look like the person anymore.
Yep. Mm-hmm. You got a super chat.
I see that. Look at that. The Vespa guy for $20. Thank you, Vespa. Thanks for all the extra streams lately. Can't stay to watch today, but it's nice to have these to go back and watch. Hope you all have a great weekend. Thank you. Hey, thanks for the 20, Vespa, and thanks for watching. We did an art raffle for Dan's piece on Graybeards on Wednesday, and it was very interesting because when I went to check the guy's name that won, by the backer number, his address wasn't listed, nor was his name. It just had his email address, and then it was Canadian. So I was like, oh great, Dan gets stuck for Canadian postage. But anyway, that's another story. So I had to email the guy to go, to find out who he was, I know we all say, God, it would have been so nice if someone watching the show had won, which it would have been. But you also get to find out something about, maybe somebody else. And this guy, he writes me back. He goes, oh, he was really excited to have won. And he said, he didn't say anything about Graybeards, but he said, my brother and I watch your Sunday show every week and love it, And so I was like, okay, that's cool. But I didn't know the guy's name. He's like never shows up in the chat or anything, right? And but yeah, so we did identify him.
We missed a $2 super chat.
Uh-oh. Stormtrooper Julian Caesar for $2 says, thank you, David Williams.
You're welcome. For
What'd
what?
You do?
For what? I don't know. I guess just being me.
Just being you.
You are very welcome.
All right. Appreciate that. Oh. I always try and, well, I shouldn't say it. I've always wrestled with these women's shoulders because I want them to be strong and athletic, but I don't want them to be manly. So you have to make them broader than you normally would for a girl, but at the same time, you can't get too carried away.
Yeah. Snozhead said, someplace, Aaron has Sulu reference everywhere, I bet.
That's one thing that ain't true.
Oh my.
Now, see, as well as you do Kevin Grievous's voice, I'm surprised you can't do that deep Sulu. Oh my.
Oh, I could. I just didn't.
Okay, you just didn't?
Yeah.
Okay.
would have felt just too wrong.
I sat next to Sulu and David Williams at a Motor City Con. Not David Williams. Sorry.
I'm like, what? When did this happen?
Remember that time you and Sulu had breakfast together? Peter David. I don't know how you went from Peter David to David Williams, but I guess there was kind of a loose connection there. Yeah, so he was sitting with Peter David at Motor City Con in Detroit. And, it's not much of a story except the fact that I was sitting there kind of eavesdropping on the conversation, listening to his his talking about how Bill Shatner was not professional and all this kind of stuff.
He said, I like going to the carnival and playing the board game Cornhole. What?
You remember we were talking about controlling what comes out of our mouth earlier today? Yeah. Sometimes you just can't. It just kind of comes out. That was always one of the fun things at cons, though, especially ones that were like in a hotel or something, because you would end up sitting next to, or sometimes with, celebrities or people that, you didn't otherwise would never get a chance to meet. And you're just kind of sitting there with them having lunch or dinner or breakfast or whatever. It happened a lot to me in the early days.
You know that what's that guy? He was in Kevin's Underworld movie. He was like the main werewolf.
I know the guy. I don't know his name. I know his by looking at him. Who?
Yeah. See, I knew him by seeing him, and mainly from that, and it was like the second to the last San Diego con I was at, and he was in front of my desk, and I was standing up talking to somebody, and he was flipping through my portfolio. And Sandra was just like getting my attention to say, hey, I think he wants to talk to you. And she knew who he was.
Right.
I didn't. And I looked at him, and I didn't notice who he was because he didn't have the long hair and the beard and all this kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. He was just everyday guy. And then when he, didn't get my full attention, because I didn't get the impression that he wanted to buy anything.
Yeah, right. You can tell, right? You're kind of like, do I want to waste my time talking to this person, or are they just thumbing through my portfolio and are going to leave?
Yeah. And so after he, goes on, and he looks at me and smiles, and
and you gave him the finger, like this ain't right.
And she goes, hey, that was the guy from Underworld. I'm like, who? And I'm like looking past him, and I was like, the guy that you were just looking at. I was like, that was him? I'm usually not impressed by any celebrity and stuff like that, but I really didn't recognize that was him, which was weird.
Well, I was at a show again with Paul Ryan and
Michael Sheen. That's his name, Michael Sheen.
Okay. And the guy who played the Rocketeer, what's his name? The actor? Was it Camp? No, something Campbell? Or
yeah.
Bruce Campbell. No.
Bruce Campbell. Yeah, you're right. Bruce Campbell. Yeah.
No, Bruce Campbell's a B actor, right? That's
the guy who played Rocketeer. That's the guy who played Rocketeer. No, wait a minute. Hold on.
It's not. No. Someone in the chat help me out. Everybody's
Bill Campbell.
Bill Campbell, right. Okay, so he's like walking by my table, not close, but kind of right in the middle of the aisle, just walking down. Past me, I look up and I see him, and then I see Paul Ryan, who wasn't sitting next to me. He was sitting down a ways from me. and he's like chasing after him, and kind of grabs him and starts talking to him. And one thing about Paul that was so funny, he would get sort of awkward when he was around celebrities. And so I saw this going on, and I was like, all right, if Paul's over there, I got to get in on this. So I jumped over my table and kind of went out there in the middle of the conversation with him. And what did he say? Paul said something so like dang, I wish I could remember what he said, but it was really one of those embarrassing moments where like, dude, that's not that guy, kind of thing. And we all kind of laughed about it. No, but we sat there, and he was a really nice guy. We sat there and talked to him for a while. And I remember saying something to him like, dude, I'm sure you hear this all the time, but I loved you in Rocketeer. I thought you were just like perfect at it and all this kind of stuff. And he's like, he goes, you'd be surprised. I don't hear that as much as you might think. And then I was asking him what, he was in. He was in some television show at the time, and we talked about that a little bit. And, but yeah, he was a really, really nice guy. We ran into multiple celebs, and you want to kind of, like I say, it doesn't bother you that much. And I try not to be that guy, but occasionally I am. But you still, you try to maintain your professional composure. Like, hey, we're both at the same con. We're both on equal footing here, like one of the gals from the blonde from Walking Dead, like the original.
Yeah.
I don't remember her name.
Yeah.
I think she got killed off in season 2 or something. But yeah, I ran into her in an elevator and talked to her for a little bit. And I said to her, I go, hey, I was sorry to see that, I really enjoyed your character on the show. I'm sorry to see that you're not on there anymore, or something like that. Or that, or that I was bummed when they killed your character. That's what I said. She goes, yeah, so was I. And I was like, uh-oh. And yeah, so it turned into a pretty interesting conversation about, because I said, so how much advance warning do you get on something? And then she just went off, and because they blindsided her, I guess, and she was pissed that they killed her off. Which I guess you would be. I mean, that's a paycheck, dude, You show up for work and they go, oh, by the way, you're dead this episode.
Where can we cut costs? Oh yeah, her.
You're dead. You're off the show. I mean, come on. I mean, how do you, and not even see it coming, just show up and you're like, get the news that this is, oh, by the way, this is your last episode. You're like, what? I just bought a new house. What are you talking about?
Man, you know who I would have cast? Bill Campbell as a older Green Lantern. He would have been awesome.
Yeah, he's got the jawline for it, and he has the look. He's a good-looking dude. And yeah, so Bruce Campbell, isn't Bruce Campbell the Army of Darkness?
Yes, he's the Army of Darkness. Yeah. Man, Dave Stevens, when the movie was in production and stuff like that, we were talking, and he was talking about, it was like 2 different shows. He was just, oh yeah, this girl, Jennifer Connelly, and then he was saying, you remember the Labyrinth? Remember that girl in Labyrinth? And I was like, what? Oh, her? Oh, yeah. She was fine. And he was trying to step to her, like trying to get at it. The next time I saw him, I said, hey, what's going on with that? And he goes, who's the Rocketeer? Oh, Bill Campbell. You can just hear it in his voice, He had a little bit of like, huh?
No, I was going to say, yeah, because he was trying to make it with what's-her-face, and then Billy Campbell stole her or something.
Yep, pretty much. And I was just like, oh, snap. Because Dave, at the time, he was pulling, like, super hot babes.
Oh, yeah.
He didn't pull Jennifer, though. He was trying. And then Bruce Campbell came in there and said, nah, son.
So I'm taking this.
These draws is mine.
Well, she's an interesting character because she was like, when she was young and had humongo boobs, she was like kind of a bimbo. And then she thinned out and got breast reduction surgery and became a serious actress,
Yeah.
which is weird to me because apparently just because she reshaped her body doesn't mean she suddenly became a better actress. She obviously had that in her, but I just thought it was interesting that she felt that she needed to do certain things to make herself, I don't want to say less attractive because she's still, even as an older woman, is still smoking hot. But I just thought that was interesting. That
I don't know, man. I like thick bimbo.
I know. So what was that movie where she was with that one dude and they were trapped in the department store overnight or something? And she was riding the electric pony or whatever. She put a quarter in.
That was my dreams. How did you get into my dreams?
Yeah. She's also in The Hot Spot. Did you ever see that?
I probably did.
Don Johnson, and he was this Don Johnson was this grifter going through this small town, and it was directed by Dennis Hopper.
Yeah.
And it's like, God, who's that blonde chick? Not Valerie. Is her brother's an actor too. Her brother was in Reservoir Dogs. What's her name? Who was the guy that cut off the dude's ear? What was that guy's name?
Man, you're
that
making
actor.
Everybody's name. He just died like a year or two ago.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I can't think.
Man, we are graybeards.
I know. I can't think of. It ticks me off. I mean, I got Don Johnson though. I mean, that was pretty good. Remember that, and Dennis Hopper. But is someone in the chat helping? Michael Madsen, yeah, his sister Virginia Madsen. There it is, Art of Roy. Thank you. So she was in that with Don Johnson, and he was in love with the chick with the breast reduction, and Jennifer Connelly. He was in love with Jennifer Connelly, and this was the young, curvy Jennifer Connelly.
Yeah.
But he got tied up with Virginia Madsen, who is kind of also a grifter, and they pulled off this, I don't know, the murder, killed her husband and took the money or something. But he was tied; he couldn't get away from her. He had to go with her and leave Jennifer Connelly behind, and his one chance of happiness. And so it was actually kind of a good movie, but it was just kind of a modern day noir type film. But I was going through this period where I would go to the video store. Remember those?
Mm-hmm.
I'd go to the video store and just like find a movie that I'd never seen that looked kind of interesting. And so that was one of them. Another one I rented was something called The Miracle Mile with Anthony Edwards. And it's like this atomic bomb gets, it's like the last night he has before this atomic bomb gets dropped on Los Angeles. And they're never really sure if if the bomb threat is real or not.
Mm-hmm.
And then, and he meets the girl of his dreams, but he doesn't get any information on her. And then he finds out that, this nuclear attack is imminent through happenstance. I won't get into bore you with the details, but so then he's desperately trying to find this girl that he just met, before the bomb hits LA. And as you get closer to the end, you start to wonder if, because if you think the bomb is going to drop the next day, you would do things that you probably wouldn't do otherwise, thinking there's probably no consequences.
Mm-hmm.
And so it starts to unravel, and you start to think that, wait a minute, maybe there isn't going to be a bomb, and this guy is just going to be in serious trouble. But no, I'm not going to. If you want to watch it, I would highly recommend it. It's really good. But I found a lot of those movies like that and would start watching them, and like that. And The Hot Spot was another one that I had no idea, but I saw that what's his face was directing. And I was like, Dennis Hopper was directing, and I thought this might be interesting. So, and it was.
So he made for a decent director.
I think he did. I mean, he directed Easy Rider.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he was just always so either drugged up or boozed out that he was just like, you hear people tell stories about working with him on set, and they're just like, he didn't give much direction. He just sort of.
I only saw Easy Rider when I was a kid, and it never stuck with me to like, oh, I got to watch this again.
I know, me too. I wasn't a kid. I was a young adult or teenager, but I didn't think it was that great of a movie. But I guess it was one of those things that you had to, if you were like a young person in 1967, I guess it was when that came out.
Yeah.
And kind of spoke to your rebellious nature, I guess, but so it's one of those cultural things that if you kind of get it.
That's what I was figuring, because I was just like, I don't get it. Why do people love this so much? Same with what's the one with the computer? Hey, Dave.
Are you talking about the Forbin Project, the one where it takes over the world?
No,
War Games.
No, the movie from the 70s. Hello?
With computer, with
the ship is a computer. They're in outer space.
Star Wars.
Man. It's very famous. It's before Star Wars.
Silent Running?
No. 2001. Thank you.
Oh, okay. Well, that was not in the 70s. That was 60 something, wasn't it?
Oh, okay. I assumed it was 70. Well, whatever. I watched that, like, I tried to watch it 3 times, and every time I would fall asleep. And then I'd rewind it just to watch the parts that I would miss and stuff. And I was like, okay, when is this going to become great?
Now, okay, so there's no part of it that you like. Like when I was a kid.
It's not that I could see that it was ahead of its time for the time, but it wasn't great. It didn't make me go, oh, do you see that? That thing, or you have to go back again and again and again.
Well, I thought it was boring. I saw it so many times when I was younger because it was on TV, and I'd watch it. And I just thought it was boring. But the last couple times I've watched it, I've actually kind of really liked it. I've always liked the monkey part at the beginning, where the monkeys, learn how to use the jawbone and stuff as a weapon and kill each other.
Yeah.
And then I thought the space stuff was dull, but it was for a while. I think it was a little too visually self-indulgent, kind of like, oh, look what we can do. Look at this, But the whole idea with Hal, being this menacing, force that they have to overcome, to me, the more I watch it, the more that part becomes really interesting to me. And then, of course, then you have the ending with, with all that weird stuff when they get to Europa and, he becomes the Star Child or whatever. But, it's one of those things for me that I didn't like it for a long time, but I'm starting to like it the more I've watched it. So.
I think we started a fight in the chat, going back and forth on whether it's a masterpiece or it's garbage. But Night Elf DK is 100% right as far as I'm concerned. And also Evil One, he said, you weren't on enough drugs when you watched it, David. You're right. I was a child. I was not on enough drugs.
Not any drugs. So definitely not enough. Yeah, I mean, when you watch that as a kid, you have no freaking idea what's going on.
Yeah.
None. Well, see, I'm not a big Kubrick fan like a lot of people are.
Yeah.
Like I saw Clockwork Orange and I just thought it was disgusting. This was like, I mean, I get the social commentary and everything, but I just felt that movie was really, really kind of hard to watch. And then,
It's like one of those things that like, oh, we're smarter than everybody else in this audience, and whoever's going to watch this thing, we are so smart.
yeah,
I was like, you know what?
yeah, congratulations, you're smarter than me, but I still don't like your movie.
Yeah.
You know? Ah.
He was like the Chris Nolan of his time.
Yeah, to Nolan's credit, though, most of his movies. Now, I didn't watch Tenet because my son went and saw it, and I go, "How what?" And he's a huge Christopher Nolan honk, right?
Yeah.
And he's like, "Well, it's good, but it's kind of hard to understand. I feel like I have to watch it again." And I went, "Okay, if you have to go to a movie twice, watch it twice to hope to understand what's going on, I consider that a failure."
Exactly.
So
100%.
I didn't even go and see it. I was like, nah, I don't want to go in there and be frustrated and confused.
Yeah.
I mean, Inception was sort of that way, but it had like the plot was interesting enough that, there was like intrigue and stuff going on and, threat of violence and all that kind of stuff.
You could cut away about like 35 minutes of that movie to get to the point. And it'd be a fine movie.
Yeah, I liked it okay, but my son loves that movie.
Yeah.
And then my favorite Christopher Nolan movie, other than Batman Begins, which I really like, is the Prestige.
Yeah.
Love that movie.
Yeah, that was fun.
I thought Dunkirk was okay. It was interesting, but I didn't change my life. And I still haven't seen Oppenheimer. And I guess it depends on who you talk to, whether they think that's good or not.
Yeah.
I think he's got something interesting coming out, but I can't remember what it is off the top of my head.
Spartan?
Huh? Oh, yeah, that's what it is, right? The Sparta movie.
Yeah.
I like period pieces. So
he's spitting all over it with this casting that he has.
Other than Tom Holland, who's in it?
The whole United Nations.
Are you saying he DEI casted it?
Yes. I'm looking up their cast right now.
Well, I assume Helen of Troy is not some Greek white.
The black woman.
Helen of Troy is black?
Yeah.
That doesn't make sense.
Oh, yeah, The Odyssey. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hold on. Cast. Here we go.
I wonder if some of these guys are doing this stuff just because they want to make sure they get nominated for an Academy Award, and the Academy now has these stupid DEI rules.
Yeah.
Or they won't. You have to have this representation, or they won't even nominate your film.
Yeah, Elliot Page is in there too.
Oh,
yeah.
That's a big no for me.
Yeah. Travis Scott is in there. Why? I don't know.
I don't know who that is.
A rapper. Corey Hawkins, another black dude, is in there. He's got he has a huge cast.
Well, it is The Odyssey.
But Matt Damon is Odysseus. Tom Holland's in it.
Yeah.
Temeculus. Zendaya is playing Athena. Wrong. Anne Hathaway is playing Penelope. Robert Pattinson's in it, and he's Antius. John Bernthal, the guy who's playing Punisher, he's in it. Mia Goth. Who else? Oh, Charlize Theron is in it.
I can't stand her after what she did to her kids.
John Leguizamo's in it.
Jeez.
Yeah, and Lupita Nyong'o. She's the one who's playing. What's her name?
Oh, Helen of Troy.
Of Troy, yeah.
What was that movie where Brad Pitt was Achilles or whatever? He went on. I think Eric Bana was in that.
Yeah.
Was it Troy? I think
that was Troy. That was
yeah.
Troy. Yeah.
I do like those period piece dramas. Like I liked Ridley Scott did a movie called something about heaven. Something, not Heaven's Gate, but it was it was about the Crusades, I think.
Wait, who's this? Who did what?
Ridley Scott directed a movie, had something to do with the Crusades, and the guy from Pirates of the Caribbean was in it.
Oh, yeah. Didn't that bomb?
Yeah, it didn't do well, and it didn't actually get that well reviewed. It just kind of got average reviews, but I liked it just because it was a costume drama. You know, it was like a biblical kind of costume drama.
Yeah.
And I like those, but yeah, I don't. So I'm sure the Odyssey, despite the DEI casting, will probably be something that I would like.
Is it Kingdom of Heaven or?
Yes, that's it.
Yeah. Dang. Night Elf DK said Troy sucked. Only those that were gay for Brad Pitt liked it.
So what are you saying? What are you getting at there? I honestly, dude, I don't remember. I remember I saw it, but I don't remember my reaction to it. I know it didn't do well either. But
I don't want to say anything because it's going to make me admit that I'm gay.
You don't want to go down that road now. All right, so I don't know, honestly, if this is any better than what I did before, but I'm going to put a big old moon. I'm not going to get up a circle template now because I can't even fit it on this paper.
Keep your pants on. Oh, you're drawing the moon.
Yes.
You're drawing that's an egg. That's not even a circle.
Well, no, the perspective's off because the camera isn't lined up right.
Oh.
It's not a great circle, but it's not quite an egg. The whole drawing might be an egg. I may have laid an egg drawing this, but whatever.
I think you're going to draw this probably 2 more times.
Probably. But then we're going to put like some pteranodons or pterodactyls or whatever you want to call them.
Hold on. Only for you, evil one.
What did he say?
He said, I could come out whenever I'm ready.
Oh, from the closet? Okay. Yeah. No one will judge you here. Yeah, so I'm going to put a few of these guys in here like this. So this is actually a prior. I got to get this painting done before the other one. It's on the easel right now.
Yeah.
So this is going to be a priority. So you're going to see this. If I can get this drawing exactly the way I want it. Yeah, so this is basically what it's going to be. Here, let's make this bigger.
Yeah, that has a lot of more tude in it. That's nice. Yeah.
So this is basically the cover, and then you'll have this big sun back here, and then the rest of this cover. I don't know if I'm going to leave it white or if I'll make it a color or something back here, but it'll just mostly be texture.
Yeah. Just leave
And
it.
then you have the logo up here, you know.
Yeah.
So
just leave it white.
I think I will. But yeah, so I'm going to fool around with the face probably a little bit more, although it's almost where I want it. I think it's pretty good.
That's nice. Nice face.
Thank you. So it's all a matter of, getting this arm and this shoulder right. Maybe I should smooth this out a bit like that. Something like that. So anyway, that will be.
I would pull that shoulder in a little so it doesn't create a tangent that you're creating with the shoulder and that boobie.
Like this?
Yeah, right there. Something like that. Yeah.
Let me bring this arm back. Then if I do that to here.
There you go.
Okay. Let's
you can make it bigger.
Perk these up a little bit. It's like I don't want her to have skinny arms, but I don't want her to have big, thick arms either. I just want kind of
you got
athletic.
It. That's right. That looks good.
All right. Well, I'll continue to futz with this, but yeah, there you go. That's pretty much what my goal was today. Was to get this done, and I'm going to have to let it sit so I can tweak it a little bit. Art of Royce says that the director of Troy was ill-suited. He directed that submarine movie, I think. Wolfgang Peterson? I think that's who that was.
Mm-hmm.
That directed Das Boot.
Yeah.
So... yeah, so hold this so we actually get the right perspective on it. So
what size is that?
This is what is this? I think it's this is 11 by 14, so this is 14 by 17, I think is what this is. So as you can see, it's close, but it's not quite big enough.
Yeah.
So I'm going to make her bigger so her head's about right there and her feet will come maybe an inch from the bottom. And then you can run the logo right across here and the box right there. So anyway, if you can't find the time to paint, you make yourself do it. So all right, everybody, I want to remind you guys to please, we only have like a couple days left. So if you haven't backed Barbaric Adventures, please consider doing so. I have no idea what's going to happen with Indiegogo because they shut these things down for a couple of weeks. So it essentially kills the campaign. So even if you bring it back, like in the in-demand, which they don't really have anymore, it's called something else, but Pledge Manager, it just basically kills the momentum of the campaign. So for all intents and purposes, you can assume this thing is closing out on Tuesday. So if you haven't backed, please consider doing so.
And please share.
And please share it around. Like I said, we don't have much time left. We're about 431 backers. I would love to think we could get this to 500. That a lot of people have just been sitting and waiting till the last minute to jump in on this, but we'll see what happens. But I know almost everybody watching is probably backed at this point, but if you haven't, please consider doing so. You'll find a link in the description of this video, take you right to the campaign. Also, it's pinned to the top of this chat. If you're watching on X, you go to my profile page and you'll find a link there. And you can just go to Indiegogo and or AaronLopresti.com. There's a link there. There's links all over the place. So we appreciate you guys dropping in with us. I think we got all the super chats. Thank you for that. Thanks you guys for joining in. It's always our pleasure to sit here and draw a little bit and have a conversation and with you guys. And so anyway, today is Friday, so I will see you guys Sunday on my show. And who knows, I might pop up again before then. So have a great rest of your day and a great weekend, and we'll see you later.